Hello everybody, welcome to Unit 1.2, in which we will continue discussing the theme of culture and identity. This half unit, will be talking about this theme in terms of poetry and drama, whereas the last half unit we talked about it in terms of fiction and nonfiction. So this week our discussions or your reading will be a number of poems. Again, you'll have some individual choice in the matter. You'll have 4 poems assigned, and then you choose 2 of the remaining poems, and then you'll read a play and a short story version of the play. So that's the reading assignment for this week, and then some supplemental texts per usual, in which you'll have some opportunities to listen to other people perform these texts for you, to read them, etc., etc. Now, that is the reading for the week. The discussions will focus on one of the poems or an idea from one of the poems. We'll pull a theme from that, and about the idea of wearing a mask, and that all of us put on a mask to interact with other people. And we'll talk about this in terms of the literature we've read for this week. You'll be able to apply it broadly to whatever texts you so desire. And then the second discussion will be an introduction to poetry, where we'll talk about different ways of responding to poems, because I'm sure all of you have had the experience of being asked to analyze a poem and you just dread it. It's like pulling teeth. No, please don't make me do this. But hopefully this week we can help you get over that a little more and respond to poetry in a little different way, because I think there are many different ways we can respond to poems. You don't always have to analyze it. I want you to respond to it personally and deeply. But that's just me talking. I'm a huge proponent of poetry. Love poems. Anyway, so we'll be talking about this week. The terms to know for the week are imagery and stanza. Learn them, love them, live them, or something like that, or at least apply them in your discussions for the week so you can get some extra credit. Terms to know extra credit. I hope that's working out well for all of you. Now, I just wanted to give you a heads up that coming up in the next part of this unit is a revision workshop. At the end, let's see, September 23rd, due by midnight September 23rd, your first process draft number 1. You'll submit that to me here, and you'll also post it in the revision workshop, which is right here. Now, I'll go over some of these feedback guidelines, give you some pointers for participating in these discussions, these forums, revision workshop forums, but you'll need to post that both here, and I think I need to change this date. It shouldn't be the 22nd, it should be the 23rd, and that should be your process draft number 1 again. Now, just a word about these process drafts. Come up here to the assignment sheet. The process drafts, again, here we have the due date for process draft number 1, midnight September 23rd. Now, it could take any shape, but basically the process for these process drafts, or how I envision them coming into being, is in this way. I went too far in there. Anyway, it begins with your annotations. You're annotating your text for this semester, at least for this semester. Hopefully annotation becomes something you just build into your reading habits. But you write an annotation in the margin of your book. Now, the next step in that process would be expanding that annotation into a longer note in your reading notebook. And then if you like that, you can expand it a little further into a more finished text. This would be your process draft. So that's how I envision these process drafts coming to be, is that you begin with the literary text, you respond to that in the margins, you write your annotations. The annotations inspire a broader or a longer form of writing in your notes. And then the notes, you could expand those into your process draft. That's how I envision the process working in this class. And your responses to literature. So that's what your process draft could be. They could take any of 3 forms: a critical text, a creative text, a performance text. I'm not going to go over those for you in too much depth, because you have the information right here, and I trust, again, that you can read. But you can do a critical analysis, an interpretive argument, a compare-contrast essay, or another kind of critical text. Now, you could also do a creative text, poem, personal essay, short story, short play, etc. But if you do a creative text, it needs to be accompanied by a preface of at least 300 words that addresses how your poem, essay, story, or play uh, evolved out of your responses to the text we're reading for the semester. So that's what your preface should be. Your creative text should not just be something you've written in the past and that you're using again in this course, but it should be something that grew out of or evolved out of your engagement of and your encounters with the text that we're reading for this semester. Now, the same thing for the performance text, well, kind of the same thing for the performance text. You will, if you choose to do a performance text, it needs to be accompanied again by a preface of at least 300 words in which you discuss why you chose this particular text to perform and how preparing to perform that, then how performing it influenced your understanding of what you read and how you read it. So some preparation needs to go behind these performance texts. I don't want you to just sit down and read through something quickly. It should be engaging. It should be fun for you to do. I've had students in the past tell me that these performance texts are more difficult than they thought they would be because you need to put in some preparation. But if you have questions about any of these things or anything else in the course, please do feel free to let me know. Again, the revision workshops are coming up after this unit module. So we'll finish up this unit module where we talk about poetry and drama. Then we'll have the revision workshops for a few days before we move into unit 2.1. Again, if you have any questions, please do feel free to let me know. My inbox is always open. And if you need to give me a call, please do that. I might answer my phone. If I don't, you know the drill, and I'll get back to you. Happy reading for the week for the unit.